Alright, I'm going to show you how to use the Desmos calculator to evaluate variable expressions. Again, I know your graphing calculator, your one that you have on your desk, does the exact same thing. I like this one better. I think it works a little bit easier, but you can choose whichever one you want. But I'm going to show you. So, here I know that a equals -5. So I hit enter. Not going to mess with this. Don't mess with the little slider tool. I know that b is going to equal -4. So then all I have to type in here is what's a squared minus b squared? Well, in order to get the squared button, you hit the little up arrow by the 6. So you hit the little shift and 6. Squared, I'm going to press to the right, minus b, the little up caret by the 6, squared. My answer is 9. Simple as that, and I can see that I know exactly what a is and exactly what b is. Next one, I'm going to try a is going to be 16. So again, a is 16. I'm going to change b to -3. So this time I need square root. Well, where is the square root button? Well, if I look here on my calculator, and I'm going to move this down just a teeny bit. If I look on my calculator, here's the square root button right there. So I say, what's the square root of a? Press to the right here. We've got to press to the right. If we don't press to the right, we can see it's going to keep stuff inside of it. I don't want to keep stuff inside of it. I want the subtractions outside of it, so hit minus. AB, again, to do the squared, you hit the little caret above the 6. Squared, my answer is -140. Alright, so I'm going to show you another problem here. But in this case, I'm going to show you this isn't going to work. And I'm going to show you why in a second. So x is equal to -343. Y is equal to 2. So if I put this in, do you see how it's already graphing a line over here and it's doing something? Well, if you think about it, when we graph and later on in the year, if you remember from last year, and if you don't, you're going to find out more about it this year, x and y are graphing lines. So right now I'm graphing a line as x equals -343. So somewhere in here I have a line that's going straight up and down, a vertical line going up and down at -343. And I also have a horizontal line here at y equals 2. So when I do that, I can't get an answer. But I'm going to type it in just to show you. So I have y plus, now I need the cube root. And if you look here, I'm just going to make the screen a little bit bigger. There's no cube root button right here, but if we go here to functions, we walk over here, we can see here, you see this little button right here? This can help us get any root we want. In this case, we wanted a cube root. I'm going to make my screen a little bit smaller so I can see what else I have to type. And so then I have the cube root of x, and all of that's going to be over, divide by -5. And as you can see, there's no answer here. But again, that's because it's graphing lines, and it can't read it. You see the little exclamation point here? It's not going to work right. So let's change this variable here to, and again, pick A and B. A and B seem to work just fine, so we'll do A, and we'll do this as B. So I'm going to substitute anywhere I saw a and a Y, I'm going to change that to a B. Anywhere I saw an X, I'm going to change that to an A, and then boom, there's my answer. In this one, we've got 3 variables and a fraction. We could still do that just as fine, so again, let's make this -8. This is going to be now, instead of being 2, it's going to be a half. I'm going to clear this out because now I have a c. C equals 2. And again, just keep pressing down here and you have these. So what's the cube root? Well, again, how do I get the cube root? I hit the little function button. I hit the little right here, the cube root of n, or the nth root. So what root do I want? I want the third. Put in there a. Again, press to the right to get out of the root, because if I leave it in here, again, it's going to stay in there. We don't want it in here. So press to the right, minus bc, plus abc. What's my answer? -11. So remember, I don't want to use x, so I'll just use a again. A seems to be pretty easy. A is equal to 5. Now I have here 2. Instead of x, I'm using a. So 2a to the third, press to the right to get off of that, plus 3x squared, press to the right, oops, excuse me, I did it again, should be an a, and then press to the right to get off of the exponent, plus 10, and my answer is 335. So again, another test question. This was one of the most missed questions. So I'm going to, again, can't use x and y, so let's use a and b again. So a is going to be -5. We'll use b as negative 3. So anywhere I see a y is really going to be an a. So I have, and I'm going to put this in parentheses since it's on the top of a fraction, a to the second power, press to the right to get off the exponent, minus z, excuse me, in this case I used b to the second power. I'm going to come out of the parentheses. I'm going to hit divide. Now I have b minus 1. And in this case, my answer is negative 4. And if you look, except for the fact that y is a and z is b, that problem looks exactly like it. No thoughts needed. I know that these two values are right, and we're done. All right, going to plug this one in here, number 3 from your test. So we've got y is equal to negative 3x plus 5. What is y when x is 2/3? So let's type in a equals 2/3. Now I go over here and I say, okay, well, I want to know negative 3a plus 5. And my answer is 3. All right, got a longer one here. Again, we still have just one variable, so again, let's use a. A is equal to negative 9. So I have 3. I've got to find my absolute value, so click on Functions. We're going to come over here to Miscellaneous. We're going to hit the little absolute value sign. In this case, absolute value of a, press to the right, plus 8 minus a squared, and my answer is negative 46. And then my last question from the test looks like this. So again, in this case, I do have a, so let's just use a again. 64, b is negative 5, and so then we say to ourselves, now we've got negative 2. I've got to do the cube root. So again, go to Functions, click on Miscellaneous. I want the nth root here button. So what root do we want? We want the cube root. I hit to inside the cube root. I want a. Press to the right to get out. Again, if you don't hit the right to get out, you're going to be stuck inside. Press to the right to get out. Plus, we've got b to the second power. My answer here is 17.